Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take out these TGVs. They're these things right here. I have one on each side. So it's gonna be those 4 bolts right there. Gonna be 12. I'm gonna take the 4 bolts out of the other one as well. So this is what we're looking at right now after taking off the manifold. Now we're gonna take off these TGVs right here. But first I'm gonna take off this turbo inlet finally. So all I have to do is just take it off that turbo. If you didn't release it or loosen this coupler hose clamp, then do that now. I already did, so I should be able to just pull this thing out. And there's my stock turbo inlet that I will be replacing with the Perrin turbo inlet. I'm going to try to take this TGV off right here. Almost looks like just a pull type clip. It's not, it broke. So don't pull on that. Make sure you, I don't know why that broke actually. It is a pull type clip, it just broke. That kind of gave me some slack a little bit to work here. Okay, so when you're getting ready to remove this, make sure you disconnect your fuel injectors. I guess I just pulled my whole injector out. It's much easier that way. Just push this tab in and unplug your injector. And I'm gonna see if I can pull this one out too to give myself some space. There we go, I pulled the injector out. There's another injector. All right, now let's try to pull this TGV out. All right, there's actually another zip tie right here on this fuel rail that was kind of hiding from me, so try to get this one too. After getting that zip tie off, now this fuel rail moves a lot easier. That made sense. I was wondering what was holding that in still. I'm following some instructions that do not tell me anything at all.
They skip steps. They didn't even tell you to take out the alternator. So they don't tell you to take everything out, so you run into little errors here and there, and that's what watching this video will do for you. You'll see any of the things that were left out before.
You also want to disconnect this hose right here. There we go. Kind of gets out of the way. And finally, this TGV comes out.
She's out.
All of this for a damn TGV delete.
1 down, 2 to go. 1 down, 1 to go.
There we go. So after taking that TGV out, you want to go ahead and put the rags right inside of those, because you don't want anything to go in there. Thank you, appreciate that.
No problem, no problem. We got here together.
So moving on to get this sucker out right here. If you guys are still staying tuned and you guys are still watching this, big thumbs up to you.
Big thumbs up to you and all your goals and your plans, because you must be doing something.
Exactly. That means you're actually probably thinking about doing this, and I suggest you go for it. Just
do it the
be
right
careful.
way.
Do it the right way and do your research. Don't be scared to ask questions. All right, so we're gonna get this TGV out next. The right one on the right. All right, so I'm gonna try to get this other TGV out, and in order to get this TGV out, it is connected to the motor right here. So I'm gonna try to disconnect that. And in order to do that, just kind of move some of these to the side. You can see it's right there, right where my finger is. And that's what I'm gonna try to unplug. Same way you did the first one. There we go, I unplugged it, as you can see. It's right here. Now you're able to actually move this a little bit more. All right, so now I'm just gonna try to push the injectors down with the flathead while pushing up on the fuel rail. So disconnect them. I'm trying to keep the injector seated inside right here. Unless I could pull them out like I did on the other side. So when you're putting this injector in here, make sure it's really seating. So let me show you what I mean by that. So as you can see, there's this rubber grommet on here, so it's gonna be kind of tight. So when you seat it, you want to make sure it really pushes down in there. Just kind of have them facing outwards so you can connect them easier. Next, you want to grab that fuel rail that we just assembled. And they don't have a specific orientation because they're actually the same. As you can see right here, they're exactly the same. So you can put them on whichever one. You just want to line all of this stuff up and get it threaded in there. How you want to thread these in? Make sure they're going in straight. Shouldn't be too hard to do. If it's too hard to do, then that means you're probably not going in straight. So just get it hand tight. I'd say like 10 to 15 pounds-feet maybe. So there's one TGV delete with the fuel injectors and the fuel rail set up. So let's do that to the same thing on the other side. So here's the fuel injectors. We've already got this fuel rail set up. So here's how we're gonna do it again. So just grab your injector. With this facing that way, you want to slide it in here. You want to be gentle with it. I say the biggest thing is getting it in straight. That's why sometimes it could be kind of a challenge. You don't have to get them too tight because once you get these bolts in here, it'll all kind of squeeze everything together. Just enough to where you can actually get this on here. So I'm just finishing tightening the last two fuel rails and injectors. Alright, now once you've got that, you can get your pigtails out and you can just snap them all into the connectors, and then these are pretty much ready to get dropped back into the engine with these spacers. And I actually got the phenolic spacers, I think that's what they call them, to go with this, because I believe this helps, and that's what I have been told, so that's what I'm doing because I have went through this whole process anyway, so why not? Now this is basically just an easy way to connect these fuel injectors to the Subaru fuel harness. That way you don't have to do any splicing. This comes in handy. So these are pretty snug fit. So this one's done. Now when connecting these, I kind of like to push up with the injectors so not to put too much pressure on it. Alright, so these are pretty much ready to go back into the car. So let's go ahead and put these in. Alright, so I'm going to take off this OEM gasket that's on here because I have a different one that I'm going to put on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that one can go to the trash. Alright, so since I got the phenolic spacers, I'm going to use the gasket and then the spacer on top of it. I asked a couple people and they gave me different answers, but a lot of them said it doesn't matter, so that's how I'm going to do it. Hopefully it doesn't matter. Okay, and there's the spacer. All right, so now you can go ahead and grab this and you can place it on top of that. So do your best trying to get it between all of this stuff. So there we go. Got the TGV pretty much in place at this point. So these TGVs came with the different bolts. They're a little longer because of the spacers. And then there's this washer. So go ahead and put those on. So now I'm going to put the next bolt in right down here. Get all these tightened down. Now you got your TGVs or your TGV deletes in on one side. So I'm gonna block that off for now while I work on the other side. So just repeat that same process. So easy we can get number 2 in here. After you get those in, you can actually go ahead and plug your injectors in. So it's those pigtails coming off of the injectors. So here's the first injector. Get the pigtail and get the injector. You want to just kind of line these guys up like this. It should just clip right in. Do that to each injector that you have. You want to make sure you don't accidentally plug the wrong ones in. So those ones are now plugged in. Now we could get ahead or go ahead and do the fuel lines now. Okay, so what you want to do first, we're gonna go ahead and install these fuel lines now. You want to grab line 2, and then that 90-degree section, you want to install it on the passenger side, firewall facing fuel rail. And you want to route this kind of under the turbo and under all these PCV hoses. And I believe it's an 11/16. This is the only one I have. It's a little dirty, but it will do. So I got it pretty hand tight there. Now I'm just gonna finish it off. Get them on there pretty good. So this is the fuel line right here. As you can see, it's connected to the fuel rail. It's routed right here under the where the turbo inlet's gonna be. Behind all of these PCV hoses, it's gonna go right there. All right, now you want to grab line 1 and then see this, it's like a 180-degree fitting pretty much. You want to connect that to the passenger side front facing rail, and then you want to route this back here the same way the other one is routed. So it should end up right here. Okay, we're gonna start off by connecting this guy to right here. There you go. I don't know what we did there, but I like it. So again, just grab a 7/16 and tighten line 1 down. So there's that fuel rail in there. I kind of have it just kind of routed like this. They should kind of just pop out next to each other. Now we're gonna do the right side. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and grab line 3, and this is gonna go on the fuel rail that is on the driver's side, closest to the bumper. And this you want to route underneath this harness. You kind of want to have it come around this way, and then that's where you want to connect it. All right, so once you have that connected right here, it's kind of hard to show you guys. There it is connected, and you want it to come out right here underneath that harness. Now time to grab line 4, I believe. That's going to be connected to the driver's side nearest to the firewall, and it's also going to be going the same way and out the same direction. So now you want to grab line 4. It's got that 180-degree fitting. This is the one that you want to attach to the fuel rail, and then you want to have the line come out like this and then out in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. What you got to do is install this Y block thing that they have to line 1 and line 3. So line 1 is going to be this one that comes off of this passenger side rail. So you want to follow that where you put it, and that would be right here. You want to get that installed. Then you also want to get line 3, which is going to be this line coming off of the rail on the driver's side, closest to the bumper. And this is going to be line 3 right here. Get them hand tight on there first so you know you're not misthreading, and then go ahead and tighten them up. Once you got those installed, moving on to the next part. All right, so what we're supposed to do next at this point is put a Y block right here onto these 2 lines off of the one that goes to number 4 and 2, but I do not have one. Cobb never gave me one, so.
Bad on you, Cobb. Bad on you.
Yes, shame on you guys. You guys are slowing down this whole install. Now I have to wait till tomorrow, hit up some stores and hope that they have something similar to this. Man, am I not happy about this, but you know, nothing I can do about it.
Come on, Cobb.
I'm just gonna do what I can here, and then these 2 lines I'm gonna do tomorrow and then continue the install. So anyways, to continue, you wanna grab these 2 pieces that are in the bag, and luckily I actually have these. And then you wanna screw this one on like this, get it on there kind of tight. So I just did it hand tight because it's gonna be kind of hard to tighten it with just your hand. So now you wanna go ahead and tighten it onto this line. And then get that one tightened. So now that we have that, we can finally tighten this one as well. So now what they want you to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this hose off right here because they have a different one supplied. Now I'm gonna go grab that fuel line that I need. This is gonna be the line that we need right here. Then you got a little hose coupler. I'm gonna put that on the hose. and then attach that right where we just took it off from. Get it pretty tight. After you connect that right here, you kind of just want to route this stuff, or this fuel hose, just, I think the best place for it to go. Make sure. Pop that in, push the blue clip down, and that's going to be your fuel line connected to this side. All right, so next we're going to be installing line 5. What we have to do is remove this one right here that we already have. Be able to pop that off right there, and this is actually screwed in with the bolt. All right, so now I'm just going to put a little bit of lube right here just to not damage the other hose. This is just what the instructions recommend, so go ahead and do that. You want to grab this quick connect harness right here. I actually think this comes off. So just take off your original plastic one. You want to remove this piece just like that, and then you want to put it on right there, and then slide this piece on. It's gonna be on there pretty snug. Next, you got your line 5 that you want to grab. All right, now what we're gonna do is just get this part on the opposite side of where the actual line paper is. You want to get this part and connect it right here. Just route this, and this is going, the other end is going to connect to the other Y block that we're going to install. We're gonna be doing that tomorrow, so we will come back to you tomorrow and show you guys the rest of this install. But let me just put this line in and show you what it looks like. All right, you guys, it is now the next day. So it is Saturday morning, and I went to some stores to try to pick this piece up. This is so hard to find. I went to so many places, called so many spots. I ended up getting it at Baxter's. They had to get it from their warehouse, delivered to their store. Oh, man. Anyways, let's just see if this fits, because moment of truth. 4 hours later, let's see.
Houston, we have power.
And then last but not least, so just don't forget to tighten all your connections before checking for leaks. And there we go. I actually don't think that's too bad at all. So here's a zoomed out view of how all the fuel lines are routed. So if that helps you guys, then good. Anyways, moving on to checking for fuel leaks. All right, now at this stage, since we have finally connected all of the fuel rails, the injectors, and the lines, we can finally put the fuel pump fuse back into the car. Do not start your car because you do not have the intake manifold, but just prime your fuel pump, put it in accessory, check for leaks, because this is the easiest way to do it before putting everything back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. I'm gonna show you guys what to do. And again, don't start your car. All right, so I went ahead and connected my battery back. I'm gonna put this fuel pump fuse back in here. Grab my keys, and I'm gonna prime the fuel pump.
Make sure you're pressing on the clutch. Okay. I'm like thinking I'm in the line of fire. Put off the clutch.
You ready?
Yeah. We get that. Oh, leak. Right here. Oh shit.
Okay, yeah, that's why we check for leaks, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's give it another go. Let's see.
Let's give her a whirl. Watch her.
Not leaking?
Not that one. Not that I see.
All right, so I'm definitely gonna go back still through every connection and make sure they're all tight like that. I didn't realize while tightening
where's that at? Right there, there's a leak right here. It's dripping on the injector.
Let's find all the leaks first before doing this again.
Okay. We're gonna.
Oh, right here too.
Where? Oh yeah, it's leaking right here.
Okay, let me try to tighten it. So we got that leak fixed over there. It's not leaking anymore.
Nope.
But then we had a tiny drip over here on this fuel injector on the passenger side. And as you can see here, I guess when the injector got seated in there, it effed up this rubber seal right here, this grommet. And as you can see, that's where it was leaking from. So I gotta go back to the store. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. So instead of going to the store, I went ahead and grabbed the seal off of my OEM injector, like that, and I just put it on here. I called Cobb Surge Line. They said that should work. They're the same one. But they obviously they would recommend replacing it, but since I'm in a, I'm in a pinch right now, this is all I can do. So also, we just got to make sure this seats properly so it doesn't do that again. The reason that happened is because it just didn't seat properly. And what I'm gonna do is put just a little dab of lube right here to help it seat in there a little bit more smooth, and hopefully that doesn't leak this time. So let's try it. All right, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of this super lube. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not even sure if this is something that you're supposed to do, but they told me I could put a little bit of grease on here. They just didn't state what kind. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. It's a tiny little bit. Just get some grease right there. Now let's put this into the rail first and then into the TGV. Delete. There we go. Now let's try to put all this back together and run the fuel system again. See what happens. Alright, so I have reinstalled this injector. I seated the rail. I am just now tightening all of this stuff up. You gotta do it slowly, smoothly, and make sure it's all getting on there evenly. You should be able to hand tighten very easily. If it's rough, then it's not straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these nice tighten. Let's try to prevent any of those leaks from happening again. Let's hope this solves the issue. Okay, after double checking, start her up. Now start her up. Let's just see if it leaks. It was leaking right from here before. So let's see. Try to dry it up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, let's see if she leaks. Alright, so this is what we have going on so far. We're checking for any leaks. It all looks pretty good so far. Alright, so I'm just going to give it another thorough 5 minutes of looking around, making sure everything's tight before continuing with putting everything back together. And I suggest you guys do the same. Alright everybody, now that I got my fuel injectors, my fuel lines, and my fuel rails all installed, I'm going to go ahead and do this parent turbo inlet. I'm going to set it up and place it on the turbo. And then I'm going to get the manifold on. This will just make it a lot easier, and that way I don't have to jimmy rig it under the manifold and, mess it up or anything like that. I'm going to show you everything that comes in with this kit, and I'm also going to set it up for you guys really quick. So let's just open this up, see what kind of connections we have. Now let's just hope this is not like the Cobb fuel kit where I'm missing something. Alright, so we got 3 different hose clamps. We got the instructions. So we have this, I think this is an adapter. Now I'm going to show you guys how to put all of these little attachments onto here, the right orientation, and then we're going to go ahead and put it into the car. Gotta love new things. As you can see, there's one that's the same size on each one, and there's one smaller connector. And what I believe is you have to use the one with the smaller connector right here for the boost solenoid connection. And then you use another one with the small end and then a bigger end on this evap connection. That's going to go right here. And then use the big end where it has 2 big ends on it. This one goes right here on your crankcase connection. And then we're going to put this PCV connection right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put all those in here for you. So once you get these on, this is what it should look like. Yeah, the skinny one, the bigger one, and then you have that PCV connection where you're going to put the sensor on here. Now also, if you have the stock bypass valve, you're going to connect that here. I do not. I'm actually going to be deleting this because I have a blow-off valve that I'm installing, so I'm going to be capping this off. Now, Parent doesn't actually give you anything to cap this with, so I bought something myself. This is just a little rubber plug and it changes in size as it goes. I'm just gonna shove this in as much as I can and hope that it stays. I'm also gonna put a hose clamp around here to really keep that plug in there. So let me just do that really quick. So that's in there pretty tight. It's not going anymore. I'm gonna put a hose clamp around this and just seal that up completely. All right, so this is what it should look like right before you put it back into the car. I went ahead and put the hose clamp right here, the bigger one, and the smaller one goes on this side. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put this onto the turbo. I'm gonna tighten it a little bit and put it in a good location to where I can continue tightening it later. And then we're gonna continue and put my manifold back onto the car, and then we'll plug all these connections back in. So this is where I'm gonna be moving all these hoses out of the way and hoping that this has enough clearance. So you wanna get it underneath this harness. And there is the turbo inlet installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the hose clamp on here so it doesn't budge anywhere when the manifold is getting put on. I might actually tighten this all the way down. So I went ahead and just tightened that all the way just so it doesn't pop off or anything like that. And it's easy to get to anyways later to be able to tighten some more or loosen if I need to move it around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, I believe I'm going to do my external wastegate and my up pipe just because I have some clearance in case I do need a work around here. I know I need to take my down pipe off and stuff like that. So it just gives me more room to work, and I like that. So there's no reason to, make it harder for myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that up pipe and external wastegate. We're gonna come back, put the manifold back on. We're gonna do the front mount intercooler, and we should be all set and good to go. So stay tuned. All right, everybody, we're gonna get ready to take out this up pipe.